Well, good evening, everybody. Would you like to say hello to me so I feel slightly less lonely? Yes, I know you're there. Good evening. My name is Rob. Okay, who is there? Or are you all going to lurk in the background? Oh, Marie. Oh, fantastic. Lovely to see you again, Marie. I hope things are going well for you. Yes? Addie, you're a new one. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. Okay? So, what I'm looking at tonight is the idea that what we espouse, what we try to do at LSBF is possibly something that's a little bit different to what other tuition providers. Maria, lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. Okay. You see, I am the Director of Professional Courses at LSBF, and you may have noticed I've got the odd grey hair. I've been teaching for quite some period of time, let's say more than 5 years, and leave it at that, ladies. Oh, the sunburn, very nice to see you again, right? And the issue is that when we set up at LSBF, our core team, 7 or 8 years ago, the one thing that we were determined to do was to make sure that we provided teaching excellence, okay? You see, our team has been essentially together for something like 25 years. It's a bit depressing, but we have known each other for that long. And of course, we've had additions to the team, and of course, we have certainly welcomed other people to the team who are experienced lecturers. But where we come from, our background, the essential background of it, is one of being a tutor, i.e. somebody that you can rely on to give you the absolute best chance of passing the exam. And that comes from the fact that when we started teaching, we started by preparing our own notes for every paper, for making sure that you, as a student, received unique notes prepared by your tutor. Yes? And very simply, and it comes with the territory if you've been doing it long enough and you are dedicated enough, to know absolutely everything that you need to know for the exam. That means to have full syllabus knowledge, depth, yes? That means to ensure that we understand what has been asked and what the examiner is likely to ask. A classic example is, where was I yesterday? I was at the ACCA conference. And why was I there? I was there to see what was happening with ACCA and to say hi to a few friends, but mainly I was there to go and see the examiners telling us what's going to change, how they want to emphasize things in the exam, and things like that. And the funny thing is that when I talk about this, it should be the case for all tutors everywhere, okay? But I will tell you that there are certain training providers where this is not the case. Instead, what they do is they give you a set of notes, and the tutor's role is not to sell you the course, i.e. to tell you everything that you need to know about the course. Their role is to turn the page, and simply take what's on the note and tell you, okay? And I feel that that is fundamentally wrong. My core management team, the three of us, think there's something fundamentally wrong with that. And my core tutoring team, all 14 of them, okay, or maybe I should say 19 of them really, but 14 of the old lags like myself who've known each other forever, also think that that's fundamentally wrong. Our job is to make sure that you have the best possible opportunity to pass what I think we'll all agree are pretty tough exams. JD, good to hear from you this evening. Okay. So all I wanted to do here tonight was to talk about this idea of tuition and not presentation. I'm not a presenter. What I am is a frustrated teacher. Okay? And what I like to do is to get ideas across to you in as simple a manner as possible to make sure that you have the best possible chance in the exam. So, let's have a look at a few things. These are the sort of things that you may get from about other tutors. Yes? So these are the sort of comments that we have heard about tutors that I would not be happy employing. They just read through the notes. Yeah? So they've got the notes in front of them and they read them. To a certain extent what they're saying is that they don't know the subject and they're absolutely reliant on the notes. And if the notes disappeared, they would have to stop. They wouldn't be able to say another word. Now, my tutors, of course we use notes. But to be frank, most of my tutors, I could say, go and teach X, their speciality, and they could stand there for 20 hours talking about X. Maybe you would have stopped listening by then. Cam, good to hear you, right? But they could do so. They have the knowledge. They just worked the examples in the notes. Oh, okay. So what they were doing there was saying, well, here's example 1. Yeah, we're going to do example 1. Here's example 2. We're going to do example 2. They couldn't or was unwilling to discuss anything outside of the notes. So if it's not on the printed page, some tutors can't do that. But if you ask a question of our guys, they will be able to do that. Okay. They ignored some of the notes. Now this is a classic problem. It's one of the reasons why a lot of us decided to come to LSBF in the first place. Because as a core team moved to LSBF, we were able to use our notes rather than being forced to use the notes that were being foisted upon us by somebody else. Because you have to remember that other tuition providers are more about publishing and less about teaching. And what they do is that they prepare the published tome that somebody has written who's never taught in their lives, and then they force it upon their tutor and say, teach that. And the tutor can't use them because they were not designed for teaching. They lacked exam focus. Okay, the whole point about what I do is it's not very complicated. Yeah? I teach certain papers. On CIMA I teach P3, which is high-level strategy nonsense. On ACCA I can and have taught F2, F5, F9, P4, P5. Some of you will appreciate quite quickly that there is a certain strand to what I've been teaching. But the fundamental issue is that when I have taught a specific paper, I know everything that has come up in that paper. And when it came up, was it in June 2011 or was it in December 2012? Because of course that may have a bearing on your success in a given sitting. As far as I'm concerned, my role is not to teach, for example, financial management. My role is to teach financial management in such a manner that you have the best possible opportunity to pass the exam. So I'm teaching financial management, not just for financial management's sake, but for example, F9 ACCA, I'm teaching financial management as examined by a gentleman called Tony Head. He's the examiner. And whatever he says is right. Okay? They didn't really show me how to deal with exam questions. Oh, okay, so they could do the theory but not the practice. And the tutor, I can't even speak, the tutor seemed unfamiliar with the notes. Yeah, they weren't their own notes. See, the whole point is that here you use your own notes because you are the one that is getting it across to the student. Okay? So, what have we got here? A pile of books. Has anybody of you guys, have you actually just tried to read the books and see if that works? Have you studied just by book alone? I must say, I did some of my study that way. You see, it's possible to do that. I did that. I did 4 or 5 of my exams that way. The trouble is that when you look at just reading from the book, Ah, Maria, well done you. Yeah? If you look at the book, you don't know what is important and what's less important. Yeah? And the books are pretty generic, and maybe it's difficult to translate the book knowledge into the application side of the exam. Okay? You see, books will give you information, that's fine, but information itself is not what professional exams are about. If we're looking at CIMA or ACCA or ICAEW or any of these, it is about taking that knowledge and applying that knowledge in an exam environment. And for most of us, it is the application of that knowledge which is the key to exam success. So, what do we need for exam success? What do you think? Come on, guys. Mari, you'll go. Addy, Maria, Masonda, JD. I like that, JD. Are you a very sporty chap? Okay, Paul. What do you think is needed for exam success? Over to you. Practice and good tuition. Okay. Or good tuition and practice, if I want to be pedantic, Addy. I like that. Yes? Any other thoughts? Addy, your answer was so good. You have stunned everybody else into silence. Jack, you're saying a good teacher. I would like to agree with you, but I must point out at this point in time that a teacher can only do so much. And one thing I'm extremely clear on with all of my students is that yes, I will do my utmost to get the ideas across to you. But the majority of a pass comes from you and not me. Yes? I see. Okay, so Maria is a fan of Addy. I like that. That's really good. And good assistance. Well, that's interesting. So you make a distinction, Maria, between good tuition and good assistance. Yes? And what are we saying here? Mari, you're saying hard work. Well, definitely. People do not pass professional exams. You don't get through all of them unless you have put the effort in. Yeah? And Maria suggests discipline matters too. Does that mean I should have a whip or a cane just in case anybody is not doing what they should be doing? I quite like the idea of that one. Okay. So, very interesting ideas. I would agree with all of them. From my perspective, I look at it just from the paper. I'm not you, I'm not a student anymore. Too old, you see. The ability to answer the question, first of all, as said. Okay. You see, a number of you may have been coming from university, and the issue is that in university, you've got quite a scope to say a wide range of things in your final exams. Yeah? And the reason why that is because you are answering questions in direct response to your university tutor or professor. Okay? And from that perspective, providing you are answering around the question, he's quite happy in the main to give you credit for that. When we look at the questions set in ACCA or CIMA, the question is set by an external examiner. And he doesn't know you from Adam. So instead, what you have to do, you absolutely must do, is make sure that whatever you do in terms of your answer, it is directly in the context and in relation to the question. So if he asks a specific question about my topic, efficient market hypothesis, he doesn't want to know everything you've ever learned about efficient market hypothesis. He wants you to relate that theory to what is being asked. General answers score nothing, or if they do score something, it will be incidentally to why you have written them. Secondly, in the time allowed. You have very limited time in the exam. And given that you have limited time in the exam, as we have said a number of times, it is all about time management from you. And that comes from, I can't remember who told me now, the hard work and the practice, Addy, Marie, and so on. Yes? Okay. Because if you can't get it down in the time, who cares? And so you have to be able to go through the routine of being able to do specific computations. And what my team try and do is to take those computations and break them down so that they are understandable, and then build them up so you can get them down in an appropriate period of time. And thirdly, you've got to ensure that you get a pass grade. Yeah? So if we're looking at ACCA, it's quite simple. You've got to get 50%. And if that's the case, maybe we've got to take a realistic viewpoint of the exam. There are bits that should be straightforward, and there are bits that are tougher. And therefore, we should be looking at a specific exam technique that reflects this. Do we spend more time on those bits where we can score heavily? Or do we spend time on areas that are going to be super tough and we're a bit concerned about? Maybe we cut and run and say, well, we give a limited amount of time to the tough parts, try and pick up a few easy marks, and maybe we give some of the time, or more of the time, to those areas that we're likely to do well on. Yeah? So we're looking at a range of different skills here. First of all, making sure that we're relevant to the answer. Second of all, that we manage our time. And thirdly, that we look at it as a game. The game is to get 50-something%. 100% knowledge is something that we can't necessarily achieve. Okay? Come back to you in a moment, Cam. Rossi, when is ACCA lecture from online students starting? Within 2 weeks, Rossi. Within 2 weeks. Okay? I'll put my email address up at the end. If you want to contact me, be delighted to discuss it with you. Okay? So, you need information. Yes? You need to be informed about what's going on. You need to understand how to apply that information to the exam question. You need exam technique. Manage your time, manage your nerves. Make sure that you squeeze as many marks out of your limited knowledge as you possibly can. And I'm not mocking you here, we all have limited knowledge, yes? But if we can use that limited knowledge to the best effect, we will do well. And that's what it's about. It's basic stuff, but we are teachers, yes? So we are here with a sole view of getting you through the exam. That is our job. You know, we've got tutors that it's been our job for well over 20 years. Can you believe that? I know, before I was born. So, the problem I have, the tutors I will not employ are these. They are the tutors where they rely on the notes. The notes are everything. And what they do is they work through the notes, turning the pages. Yes, turning the pages. We've done page 24. We're going to do page 25, 26. Yeah? And they see it as their role to get through so many pages during the session with you. Instead, I like to look at it the other way. This is what I want my tutors to do. Yes, they prepare notes. Study notes work because they accelerate learning. Yes? So, study notes should be a synthesis of the study text. They should cover all the core topics within the examination. And they should be designed about how the tutor is trying to get it across. And based on this, what we're saying is it's a semantic point. Instead of the tutor supporting notes, where you may find elsewhere, particularly young tutors, yes? And all they've learned is to do the notes. What we have is we have notes supporting the tutors. Yeah? And even if our tutors are slightly less experienced, yes, they have been trained and trained mercilessly in terms of this approach. Yes? They have input into the notes. They understand how the notes work. And again, the notes are there to support them. Okay. LSBF tutors. Firstly, they are experts in 1 or 2 subjects. I'm quite a rarity, okay? I have taught in the last 5 years 6 papers. But at any point in time, I am teaching an absolute max of 3 papers. Okay? And we have some specialists who teach 1 paper. Yes? That you could call them one-trick ponies, but when you have people like Martin Jones, who teaches P2, and Francis Braganza, who teaches F7, and John Cope, who teaches P1, and David Laws, who teaches P3, their trick is so cool that they can cope with just being a one-trick pony. Okay? They have reputations that have run for many, many years. Yeah? Tuesday night, PQ Awards. David Laws was Tutor of the Year. Deserved it 10 years ago. Great tutor. Okay? A couple of years back, Paul Merrison was Tutor of the Year. A couple of years before that, Francis Braganza was Tutor of the Year. And we've got people like Martin Jones, who should have been Tutor of the Year 10 years ago. Okay? Well, that's a very interesting point. If, for example, a student misses a session, is unable to attend, will the notes serve him well in entirety? Well, you know how it works with us. Okay? Sorry, I'm just going off the point for a moment, but we'll better answer this. If you're doing weekend or evening classes, you get our live online classes for free. Okay? Now that means that you can watch the live online classes live, just like you're seeing this, Maria. Okay? And of course, if you miss the live online class as well, first of all, you've got a fantastic social life, well done you. Okay? But secondly, the live online classes are all recorded, so you can watch them at your leisure at a point in the future. So the way we design it is that where possible, you have the same tutor for the evening course, for the weekend course, for the live online course, and so it's almost impossible to miss any of this. Okay? And that means that we don't want the notes serving themselves on their own, because they shouldn't work like that. Notes should be a working tool. Okay? I hope that answers your question. So, we've got usually restricted to 3 papers. They're recruited for their experience. When I recruit tutors, I recruit them on the basis that they know what they're doing, and that's difficult, okay? To give you an idea, we've been through years where we have watched 30, 40, 50, 60 tutors coming for a tryout, and we'll select 1 or maybe 2. And then, as I said to you before, we're going to train them mercilessly in doing it our way. And that's because we think our way works. They work together and share. I am not interested in prima donnas, because that's the real problem with tutors who've been doing it for a while. They think they are the best, and they want to do it their own way, and they almost are competing against everybody else. No way. In this organisation, a prima donna is not allowed to exist, because we are a team. The reason why we have to be a team is simply this. There's no point in me offering a great P1 or a great F8 or something like that. What I want great tuition from F1 through to P7, if we're looking at ACCA, or if we're looking at CIMA, from C1 through to the ICS at the strategic level. Okay? Because we cannot carry passengers. We've got to have the best. They write their own material. Okay? So when we talk about study notes, I have written my study notes. Yes? Together with the typos, I apologise. I try and eliminate them. And they spend a lot of time. And we rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. So for example, my F9 notes have been developed over 20 years. They've been developed over 20 years of experience, but of course moulding and remoulding them to reflect the fact that things change from sitting to sitting to sitting. We write the mock exams. Other tuition providers, they set up the mock exams by stealing questions from old papers. Does that work? Well, sometimes they may be lucky and it may work, but quite often they look like a dog's breakfast. What we do, and it's not necessarily something that our tutors enjoy, because it's quite a massive exercise, is we try and write something in direct relation to the coming exam. Okay? They mark their students' work. One of the key initiatives that we've put on this term is to say, well, we think we're doing a good job, but we can always do better. And one of the things that we were concerned about was that too few of you, as students, were doing enough practice during the course. And so the initiative this time is to encourage you much more to do more practice. And of course your practice has to be marked. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's quite simple. As a tutor, the best way we can assist you is by feedback loop after feedback loop. You do something, we look at it, we appraise it for what's good and what's less good, and based on that, we can then advise you about what to do next. Okay? So it's all about the marking. And they're available to consult. They have to be available on email. They have to be available after class. Yes? That is their job. Their job is to get you through. In simple terms, they live or die based on their pass rates. And their pass rates today, not 3 years ago, not 2 years ago, not 1 year ago, but what their pass rate has been in the last exam. Maybe I'm a pretty tough boss. I don't know. So, okay, if that's the case, let's just move on and say, well, okay, what is there that has to be done for exam success? What is needed for exam success? We see on the one hand, we've got what we do, the absolute core of what we do, which is lecturing and tutoring. Now, interesting question here. Interesting. I'll come back to you, Maria, if I may. Could anyone help me by distinguishing between lecturing and tutoring? Any thoughts? Come on, sophisticated question now. Come on, you were an expert before, Addy. Let's give it a go. See if we can do better. Lecturing and tutoring. What's the difference between the two? Pretty close, aren't they? You see, it's a tough question for you, isn't it? Okay? Well, lecturing, the emphasis is on the content. And of course, getting that content across to you in as good a manner as possible is a fundamental skill of the tutor. So, if that's the case, what's the distinction between lecturing, getting the content across, and tutoring? Well, okay, so Maria's saying the latter involves discussion too. Yeah. Okay, I would certainly agree with you. Thank you, John. So lecturing is getting the content across to you, that's fine. Tutoring is more about arm around the shoulder, making sure that you are doing the right thing. Okay? And both of these roles are very important. So we've got the lecturing, which is very much a stand there, it's all about me, watch me, I'm the best. Yes? But tutoring is more about the coaching role. Because we are well aware that it's not about us at all. At the end of the day, when you're in the exam hall, I'm going to be on an exotic beach somewhere. Okay? So at the end of the day, you have to do it yourself. And tutoring is to try and to take our knowledge and push it over to you and say, well, at the end of the day, you are the one in the exam hall. You are the one sitting there. And we've got to try and implant it upon you. Thank you, Sally. Yes? And this is something that we encourage very heavily. My director of SEMA training, a gentleman called Rob Wood, he's a PGCE trained teacher, and he does sessions with our tutors with the sole view of trying to enhance their skills with dealing with this sort of issue. Okay? Trying to get across something that maybe is more than just the lecturing role. Now there you are, you've got your A star with us, okay? Is there anything else involved with you doing well? Well, of course, the lecturing is dependent on the quality of material. And remember what we said before, that the material that we've got is written by the lecturers. So what you should see is that the lecturing side should be that the material and the lecture are seamless, they work together. Is that fair? Yeah. And the tutoring, well, one of the interesting things, as you've seen here, is that what we try and do is we try to make our courses as interactive as possible. So when you do one of these live courses, what you tend to find is that the core course, the 2-hour sessions, they're mostly about lecturing. And the thing that we were concerned about was the disconnect between me and you. I can't see you, although I can read what you're saying here. So that's why we introduced the concept of mentoring sessions, where we mentor you through the tuition phase, and critically we mentor you after the revision phase, when you've got maybe tricky questions near the exam. Okay? So through the use of technology, the mentoring sessions are all about you. All about you preparing questions, coming to me, and we can deal with them. And of course, if we can't do them in the mentoring sessions, what we do is we do them over the phone or by email. Okay? That way, we make the distinction, thank you Maria, between, on the one hand, the tuition, the 2-hour sessions, which are mostly about us and getting it across, yeah? And the mentoring sessions where you have your opportunity to question. So you think we've got limited sessions. Now it's interesting you ask about the limited number of sessions for the content that we try and get across. We offer 16 hours tuition, and we looked long and hard at how many hours of tuition that we offer. The first thing I would observe is this. When we do our part-time courses, our evening and weekend courses, we offer more time than any of the core competitors. We believe that you have to get a full course, okay? What we found with the live online is that, of course, we get feedback this way, but we get relatively little interaction. And because it's more presentation style, we needed less time to get through the same amount of material. So I will assure you that we get through everything that we need to over the 16 hours. And that's the reason why we added the mentoring sessions on top, Maria, was the idea that we had to ensure that there was interaction. And if we've got 16 hours of mostly presentation, we can cover that. And we've got the mentoring sessions on top to make sure that we support your learning. Okay. So this is what we do. And apparently this is the classic Clausewitzian pincer movement. We're trying to come you from all sides to make sure that you have the best opportunity of passing your exams. We've just seen our exam results from ACCA, just published a couple of days ago. And we were delighted to see that, first of all, we got excellent results overall, that's fine. I'm not sure if we can publish them yet. Okay. But the thing that interested me was that the highest performing area of the school was the online school. And I'm not quite sure why that is. Maybe that's because people online are more dedicated. Maybe it's because there is more ease of access, because of course you can watch everything again and again and again. But I must say that I was extremely happy with the results that we received. So does anyone have any questions, please? We've got a few questions there. Did I pick up on everything, or have I missed something? Cam, I've got to come back to you. Before we do anything else, what I'll just do is, if I may, I promised you that we could have my email address. Is that okay? So my name's Rob Sowerby, and my email address is robsowerby@lsbf.org.uk. Okay, so if you've got any questions whatsoever, yes, please feel free to email me. Okay. But has anyone got any wider questions that you want to know? So Rossi, your question was, when does ACCA online start? I've got a feeling that I am on the Monday the 23rd of Feb, and I think that is the first day for online. Is that okay? But if you want to email me, I can get you the timetable and send it straight back to you. Is that okay? Yeah? So I think I'm first up on Monday lunchtime with F9 if you want to do that. Yeah? Cam, are you teaching P4? Okay? Well, I'll tell you, Cam, I'm not clever enough to teach PE4. PE4 is taught by Fred Acon, yeah? And he's an expert on that level. Yeah. If you want me to put you in touch with him, yeah, I'm delighted to do so. Do you know who teaches P7 in Manchester? Well, the answer is Addy. I think I do, and I should do, because I manage the team in Manchester as well. But I'm pretty sure, yeah. So Addy, I think, yeah, that you've got Ken Garrett, yeah. I know he's teaching some P7, but it depends on the course, yeah. And please remember that, do you know who teaches P7? Please remember that you will receive, Manchester LSBF, you will receive access to the video, and the video will be Paul Merrison from London, PQ Tutor of the Year 2 years ago, okay, an expert in P7, okay. Mari, you're saying F4. Now F4 is taught by Brigitte Petrova. Now, she took over F4 3 sittings ago, yeah? And you know F4's gone to the new format, the multiple choice format. I will let you into a secret, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tell this, but these were published just 2 days ago. She achieved a pass rate of 89%, the highest pass rate of every tutor, 89%. For the evenings, plus weekends, plus online. So not just one course, that's easy. You can do that with a small group. This is with a lot of people, 89%. Not bad, huh? Yeah. Can we take the revision classes earlier than May? Okay. Yes, and that would be the evening, Murray. Yes? Okay. Now, sorry, they're coming thick and fast here. Slow down, guys, slow down. Yeah? Okay, where are we? So, can we take the revision classes? Well, that's a very interesting question, Maria. When we look at the revision, I think we almost give you too many. Yeah? So what we have is we have recorded revision, and you can take that at any time. Okay? So that'll be available within a few weeks of the beginning of term. And the recorded revision is typically 10 exam standard questions fully debriefed. Yes? But, of course, if you're looking at the live revision, the live revision is, don't know how to describe this, live, okay? So you've got 2.5 hours times 4, and you're taken through a wide range of questions, and of course, other exam techniques as well. And that will happen when it happens. I would say, your reason for, sorry, I'm too many here, my eyes are hurting. Maria, I would concentrate on learning what you need to know first of all before you start thinking too much about exam technique. Is that okay? Yeah? Where are we? We're getting there. Marie, yes, evening, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. The 89% was for evening, plus weekend, plus online students, if that answers your question. Yes? Cam, please do for me, thank you. Do for you, Cam. Do for you. For me to teach P4, Cam, I'm not clever enough. Yes? Fred is clever, and I'm not. Yes? Addy, P2 teacher. The P2 teacher, again, we're talking Manchester, aren't we? Now, I'm pretty sure it's Chris Barlow. Yeah, and he's a great guy. Used to work in London for us, now he's moved back up north. Yeah, and the most important thing, he's a Liverpool fan, which of course makes it more important, doesn't it? Right? Masonda, there are 3 session times, not strictly correct. We've got 2 session times, Masonda. For online students, do we attend the last session or are we allowed to any session? You can, Masonda, come to any session, and if you want to, you can watch every session. But if you watch every session, I think that you may go slightly mad. Is that okay? But you've got access to it all. Jack, If I take the full-time course, do I get access to online videos if I miss a class? Yes, you do. You don't get access to... Sorry, too many questions here. I'm trying. Cam, slow down, slow down. You don't get access to the live sessions as a full-timer, but you do get access to the recorded sessions. Where are we? Going back one. Cam. Yes, that's very interesting. Addy, you know, when we're looking at P2, Chris Barlow will be your tutor in class, but Martin Jones would be your tutor online. And Martin Jones, I don't know, I'm biased, but my view is that Martin Jones is one of the most engaging tutors in the world. Definitely the best P2 tutor in London. He's got a certain style to him, wouldn't you agree, Cam? Yeah? So anyway, yeah? Okay. So, are there anything else? Have you got any other questions for me? Does anyone want to study F9? Because I'm feeling lonely now. F9 is the most important course. The answer appears to be no. I have a 0 popularity content. Yes? Can you explain the difference between evening and weekend sessions? We'll each cover the same syllabus. Right, okay, Maria. Well, where are you studying, Maria? Oh, Miss Sonda, you are the best, okay? You are suddenly my favourite student. The rest of you can go, okay? Right. Okay, now I'm slightly confused, Maria. Right. I can tell you the specifics of London and the way it works. If you're looking at part-time courses, you can either come on evenings or weekends or online. Now, the way we do it is this. In London, you can sign up to one and you can come to any. Okay? So I don't care, providing you check with the administrator to make sure there's room. And we'll normally make room. If you've signed up for the evening and you want to swap to the weekend for a day or something like that, that's absolutely fine. It works extremely well. Okay? Oh, I see, Maria. Okay. Live online. So live online here, what we have for most of the popular courses, and I'll talk about that in a moment, we have a daytime session and an evening session. So that's daytime during the weekday. Okay, to give you an example for F9, I'm doing the daytime session on a Monday and I'm doing the evening session on a Friday evening, which shows that even though I'm the boss, I can upset the timetable and he gives me Friday evenings. Can you imagine that? Okay? There are no weekend sessions for ACCA. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. I want to take F5, but the live revision sessions only. You know what, Maria? I think you've got some specific questions. Do you mind if you email me and we'll go through them that way? Is that fair? Yeah? Your very specific questions. I think it'd be easier for me to get the whole idea across. Rossi, what of the F? What of it? What would you like to know about F7? So, Rossi. Are you sure you don't drive a motorbike or something like that, right? F7. F7 is taught by a gentleman called Francis Braganza. Francis Braganza is the person who has taught more F7 students than anybody else in the whole world. And that is a fact. Okay? More F7 students than anybody else, ever. Okay? May suggest he's slightly popular. Okay. What day of the week? Oh, Rossi. I'm sorry, I haven't got the timetable. Again, email me. I can resolve all this for you. No problem at all. Is that okay? I haven't got the timetable in my head. The reason why I told you F9 was because I teach F9. I remember my bits. Is that okay? Yeah? I've got a great sense of humour. I know. Don't worry. As some may have appreciated that once you put up with me in the class for a few times, the sense of humour falls apart. There you go. Right? Okay. So, anything else? Any other questions? recorded videos and live videos. Recorded videos have less information stored into them because they're from a long time ago. Correct me? Oh, I don't think so. Yeah? What have we done? Now, we've got a lot of different formats that are very much related to specific markets. Okay? Now, of course, the live videos are live. Okay? The recorded videos, the vast majority of the recorded videos are very recent. So, for example, the F6s and the P6s for this term have just been re-recorded, of course, because of the change in the tax laws. Our financial accounting team, P2, F7, the only thing that they may be guilty of is adding too many additional videos. Okay? But the vast majority of them are very up-to-date indeed. What we do is we analyse the course at a certain point. Yes? We analyse the videos at a certain point and see whether they work. Because if I have given you the best ever description of efficient market hypothesis, do I have to record it again? Yeah? Okay. So if you believe that there is any issue with that, please tell me. Yeah? Have the recorded revision videos been updated? Yes, they have. The recorded revision videos has been a massive project for the last 2 months to get that updated. Okay. Again, there are certain papers where we have recorded 1 million questions, but we're committed to have at least 10 revision exam questions. Yeah, it's quite substantial for every paper. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting you ask that, Jack. If there is a specific issue, again, email me, because I would like to know about it. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. Murray, so you're coming to F5, are you, Murray? Is that right? I'm confused. We've got so many things here. Yes? Oh, F4, pardon me. Yeah? Okay. Right, well, I'll tell you what, guys. As I say, I'm always delighted to chat to students. It's so much nicer to chatting to you than it is to anybody else who works for me, I'll tell you, okay? Because they always want something, that's the problem. So if you have any questions, please email me, especially remind me that you've been on the chat today. The recorded video with print notes will really help me to pass the exam. Yes, well, it's interesting. So we've got full recorded videos for F4, and then we've got the lives as well. Yeah? Okay. Masondo, what's the maximum number of papers you would recommend for a student to take in a semester? Now, this is an interesting one for everybody, actually. We've got to feel this one. What we have to appreciate is this. We have been so used for 1 million years to have June and December exams. But what's suddenly happening, Masunda, is this. We've got September and we've got March. So starting September, we have quarterly exams rather than 6-monthly exams. Now that changes things materially, because I would have said before, for anybody who's working, 2 is normally the maximum of what anybody would do. Is that fair? You've got other things, you've got work, you've got family, you've got social things, yeah? But now we have these 4 sittings, lots of different things arise. So let's just look at it. We are standing here, aren't we? Yeah? Now, what we're looking at is this. I'm saying that you as a student will get access to your video content for a 6-month period for the tuition videos. Is that okay? And that may mean, and this is just a suggestion because everybody is different, yeah? You could maybe sign up for 2 papers on the basis that you intend to take 1 to June and 1 to September. What do you think? Does that work for you guys? Yeah? So the tuition videos are available for the 6-month period beyond. So effectively 2 sittings. Does that sound like a good idea? Because I was thinking about this. So what happens is my next door neighbour is doing doing these courses with LSBF, and it's always a bit scary because when exam comes up, you're thinking, well, I hope she passes, you know. They're good friends of ours now. Hope she passes. And she passed them, and she put this idea in my head, and I thought, well, why not? Yeah? Because it allows you to really focus on one paper and then really focus on the second paper. Yeah? Maybe you only go to revision here and you only go to revision here. Yeah? But it also gives you more time to study. Okay? So, what do you think? Because this is what I'm considering at the moment. We were discussing it in a management meeting today. Yeah? Addy, do you have online lectures if you attend evening or weekend classes? Yes, as I said before, everybody on evening and weekend classes has the right to come to any evening or weekend class that they want on that paper, and they get the live online as well. Okay? Right. Is everyone done? Well, I thank everybody for giving up your time tonight, making sure I wasn't lonely. I was a bit concerned about that, okay? Please email me if you've got any issues. I look forward to having a full inbox tomorrow, yes? And we can resolve everything that you need, okay? So all of you that I was suggesting, I think it was Maria and Jack and Masonda, yes? Or I think Mara, I can't remember, everybody really. But please email me, yeah? Thank you very much for coming along. And I wish you the very best of luck with your studies, yes? Thank you very much indeed. Bye now.